The internet didn't wake up to a normal headline this time. It woke up to a sound, a voice that was never meant to be heard by the public. Quiet at first, circulating in the dark corners of group chats and fan pages, then suddenly loud enough to shake the foundations of every timeline in Atlanta. People weren't sharing a clip from a television show or a rehearsed interview. They were sharing a violation. A leaked audio file that, if true, flips the entire narrative of the Frost marriage upside down. One question kept repeating everywhere, from the high-rises of Midtown to the deepest threads on Reddit. Is the loyalty we've admired for a decade just a high-priced illusion? According to circulating reports, something monumental has surfaced. Not a physical fight or a visible scandal, but a series of private voice notes allegedly leaked by Jasmine Washington. It wasn't just a single comment, but a chain of revelations that suggests the boss chick herself may have been playing a role that even she no longer believes in. Fans are shocked because the names involved are the pillars of reality TV royalty. Rasheeda and Kirk Frost, a couple whose brand is built on the idea of surviving the storm, are now facing a hurricane that doesn't come from the outside, but from within their own private conversations. The chatter suggests that these recordings capture a version of Rasheeda the cameras never saw, a woman exhausted by the weight of her own crown. In the most devastating clip, a voice that sounds eerily like the Queen of the South is heard uttering the words that have left fans paralyzed. "You think I'm here for him? I'm only staying for the money and the brand. There's nothing else left." Suddenly, 10 seasons of forgiveness are being reanalyzed. Every smile on a red carpet, every united front at a reunion, and every business opening is being looked at through the lens of these leaks. Emotions are running high as people realize that the most expensive secret in Atlanta wasn't another child. It was the truth about a marriage that had already died behind closed doors. The shift in the digital atmosphere didn't come with an explosive announcement. It came with the press of a play button. To understand the gravity of the current situation, you have to look at the anatomy of how these voice notes allegedly surfaced. For years, Jasmine Washington has been the ghost in the machine of the Frost marriage, a constant reminder of Kirk's infidelity and the existence of a son who couldn't be ignored. But the chatter suggests that Jasmine's latest move wasn't a desperate grab for attention, but a surgical strike against the brand that has spent years painting her as the villain. According to those close to the situation, these voice notes weren't found, they were reportedly weaponized. The kind of change you notice in a story like this is how quickly the boss chick narrative can turn from a story of strength to a story of survival. People close to the situation say that for months, Jasmine had been hinting at having the real story, but no one expected it to be in Rasheeda's own voice. The leaked recordings are being described as intimate, raw, and devastatingly honest. In them, Rasheeda is allegedly heard venting to a confidant about the reality of her life at the Frost Bistro and the Pressed Boutique. Conversations that once felt like a partnership now sound like a business transaction. The laughter we see on screen is absent in these tapes. Instead, there is only the sound of a woman who is tired of being the strong one. Sources familiar with the upcoming season claim that the tension isn't just between Rasheeda and Kirk anymore, but between Rasheeda and the very image she created. The realization that her private pain has been converted into a public receipt is said to be the most isolating experience of her career. The kind of change you only notice once it's already settled into the room is the way the public has reacted to the specific phrase. Staying for the money. It challenges the very definition of loyalty that has kept fans invested in the Frosts for over a decade. Fans are shocked because they feel like they've been sold a fairy tale of reconciliation that was actually a calculated business strategy. The chatter suggests that the gold standard of reality TV was actually a silver screen of deception. Was the forgiveness real, or was it just necessary to keep the multi-million-dollar contracts and the real estate holdings intact? This is where the frustration begins to take over for the audience, the sense that the boss chick isn't a victim, but a co-architect of a brand that required her to suppress her own truth. The psychological toll of a leaked voice note is different from a leaked photo or a headline. It is the sound of a person's soul in a moment they thought was safe. According to reports, the upcoming season leans into this specific trauma. It shows a Rasheeda who is no longer fighting Kirk or Jasmine, but fighting the echo of her own words. She is reportedly portrayed as emotionally guarded, retreating into a silence that feels more like a fortress than a home. Kirk, on the other hand, is rumored to be reeling from the realization that his wife's, loyalty, might have a price tag attached to it. The silence that fills the space where their connection used to be is reportedly the heaviest part of the upcoming episodes. Producers didn't need to create a conflict. They just had to film the aftermath of a secret that was never meant to be spoken out loud. As the talk grows louder, old scenes are being rewatched with a clinical eye. Fans are looking at the way Rasheeda looks at Kirk when the cameras forget to cut away. They are noticing the stiffness in her shoulders and the way she avoids his touch. The voice notes have provided a key to a door that fans didn't even know was locked. Emotions ran high online as people debated whether they could blame her. In a world where your livelihood is tied to your marriage, can you truly afford to leave? This is the atmospheric shift we are seeing, a transition from a gossip story to a deep, uncomfortable conversation about the cost of fame. The narrative suggests that the upcoming season doesn't offer a neat resolution, but instead forces the viewers to sit with the discomfort of a woman who is realizing that her crown is made of gold, but it's also a cage. The story, according to the whispers, stays complicated because Jasmine Washington is no longer the other woman in this chapter. She is the narrator of a truth the Frosts tried to bury. Her involvement is described as subtle but catastrophic. By releasing these notes, she hasn't just attacked a marriage, she has attacked an empire. Friends notice the tension, the cast feels the weight of the divided loyalties, and eventually the viewers are expected to see the boss chick not as a hero or a villain, but as a person who finally got caught in the web she helped spin. Nothing has been officially confirmed by the couple, but the noise keeps growing. And when rumors reach this level, there is usually a reason. The shift didn't come from a loud moment, it came from the quiet click of a record button, and once that sound was out, there was no putting the story back together. This is part 2 of your 5,000+ word documentary script. This section focuses on the business of forgiveness, the intersection of the Frosts' massive business portfolio and their marital image. It follows the same deep, analytical and paragraph-heavy atmospheric style. The shift in the narrative following the leaked voice notes wasn't just emotional, it was commercial. In Atlanta, when a power couple like Rasheeda and Kirk Frost is mentioned, the conversation inevitably turns from the bedroom to the boardroom. According to circulating reports, the upcoming season dives deep into the realization that the Boss Chick brand is more than just a nickname. It is a multi-million-dollar infrastructure that relies on a specific narrative of marital endurance. Fans are shocked because the leaked audio, where Rasheeda allegedly admits to staying for the money, pulls back the curtain on the business of forgiveness. It suggests that every time we saw a televised reconciliation, every time we saw them toast to a new business venture like the Frost Bistro or another pressed boutique opening, we weren't just watching a marriage heal, we were watching a corporate merger being saved. The chatter suggests that the gold standard was actually a strategic choice, a realization that the Frosts are worth more together than they are apart, and that realization is what makes the leaked voice notes feel like a bankruptcy filing for the soul. The kind of change you notice in a story like this is how the public begins to re-evaluate the hustle. For years, Rasheeda has been praised for her work ethic, her ability to turn trauma into triumph, and her relentless drive to build a legacy for her children. But the whispers now suggest that the most difficult part of her hustle wasn't the 18-hour workdays or the retail logistics. It was the emotional labor of maintaining a united front with a man she allegedly no longer trusted. Sources close to the production claim that the upcoming season features scenes where the business of the empire feels heavier than ever. Conversations that used to be about growth and expansion are now reportedly about protection and containment. Those familiar with the situation say that when the cameras stop rolling, the silence in their shared offices is described as deafening. It is the silence of two people who are tied together by bank accounts, real estate titles and TV contracts, but who have become strangers in the very spaces they built to celebrate their love. What's being whispered is that the leaked voice notes have forced a forensic audit of their public history. Fans are connecting dots between the timing of Kirk's previous scandals and the launch of their biggest business ventures. Was the forgiveness a prerequisite for the loan? Was the reconciliation special a way to fund the next boutique? The chatter suggests that the upcoming season explores the psychological toll of being a brand before being a human being. Reactions from the cast are said to be mixed, with some members quietly acknowledging that in the world of high-stakes reality TV, the marriage is the most valuable asset you own. Emotions ran high online as viewers debated whether Rasheeda is a victim of her own success. If she leaves, does the empire crumble? If she stays, does she lose the last shred of her authentic self? This internal conflict reportedly adds a layer of gravity to every scene, making the atmospheric tension of the show feel like a pressure cooker ready to explode. The kind of change you only notice once the truth has leaked is the way loyalty is redefined. In the voice notes, the tone isn't one of anger, but of a chilling, analytical pragmatism. It is the sound of a woman who has looked at the ledger of her life and decided that the financial cost of a divorce is higher than the emotional cost of a lie. People close to the situation say that Rasheeda is portrayed in the upcoming episodes as someone who is clocking in to her marriage. She is still showing up, still filming, and still managing the businesses, but the light behind her eyes has reportedly dimmed. Sources claim that producers sensed a distance that no amount of scripted drama could bridge. Even the small disagreements over business decisions now carry the weight of 20 years of unspoken resentment. This is where the story becomes a tragedy, not because of a loud breakup, but because of the quiet, businesslike way they continue to exist in the same space. The story, according to the whispers, stays complicated because the empire isn't just about Kirk and Rasheeda. It's about the legacy of their children. The chatter suggests that the upcoming season explores the pressure of maintaining the facade for the sake of the next generation's inheritance. How do you tell your sons that the power couple image they look up to is actually a calculated arrangement? Fans are shocked because they are realizing that the boss chick narrative was a cage of her own making. By being the woman who stayed and built, she made it impossible for herself to leave and breathe without destroying the very thing she worked so hard to create. The narrative suggests that the upcoming season doesn't offer a neat resolution, but instead lets the tension breathe, showing the moments where the brand feels like a noose. As the talk about the leaked voice notes grows louder, the atmosphere around the Frost Bistro and the pressed boutiques is said to have changed. Customers and fans aren't just coming for the clothes or the food. They are coming to see if they can catch a glimpse of the real Rasheeda behind the mask. According to reports, the upcoming season captures this sense of being watched, being judged, and being trapped by your own Kamiabi success. Mendes Kirk is rumored to be feeling the pressure of being a liability to the brand he helped manage. He reportedly knows that if Rasheeda's voice is the one saying she's only there for the money, his role as the redeemed husband is officially over. The shift didn't come from a loud moment. It came from the quiet realization that when love becomes a business, the heart is the first thing to go bankrupt. The sense that something permanent has shifted is unavoidable because the connection viewers once recognized no longer looks the same. It is a revelation of how easily a dream can turn into a job. The upcoming season is said to reveal how silence can speak louder than arguments, and how sometimes the truth isn't one big reveal, but a series of voice notes that finally add up to a reality that can no longer be ignored. And according to the growing buzz, this chapter doesn't just reshape one relationship, it sends ripples through the entire Atlanta business community. Nothing is tied up with a bow. The questions about the future of the Frost Empire remain unanswered, and that lingering uncertainty is exactly what's keeping the fans watching. The business of forgiveness has never been more expensive. The shift in the digital atmosphere didn't happen by accident. It was a calculated release of information that many believe was years in the making. In the world of Atlanta reality TV, Jasmine Washington has long been relegated to the role of the disruptor, the woman who stood outside the gates of the Frost Empire, claiming her son's place at the table. But the chatter suggests that with the leak of these private voice notes, the power dynamic has undergone a surgical transformation. Fans are shocked because Jasmine is no longer just fighting for a DNA test or a child support check. She is reportedly fighting for the narrative. By allegedly leaking audio where Rasheeda admits to staying for the money, Jasmine has done the one thing Kirk Frost never could. She has made the public look at the boss chick through a lens of skepticism. According to circulating reports, this wasn't a random act of spite, but a strategic move to show the world that the perfect marriage she was accused of breaking was already a house of cards. The kind of change you notice when a long-term adversary changes their tactics is a chilling sense of premeditation. People close to the situation say that Jasmine has been sitting on these receipts for a significant amount of time, waiting for the moment when the Frosts were at their most visible. The leaked voice notes have effectively turned the other woman into the whistleblower. Sources close to the production claim that the upcoming season explores the psychological warfare behind this move. Jasmine isn't just a face in a courtroom anymore, she is the narrator of a truth that Rasheeda never wanted to speak out loud. The chatter suggests that these voice notes weren't just sent to a random friend, but were allegedly captured during a time of extreme vulnerability for Rasheeda, moments when the boss chick mask slipped, and she spoke as a woman who felt trapped by the very empire she helped build. The realization that her most private thoughts were being recorded by someone within her circle is said to be a betrayal that has left Rasheeda completely paralyzed. What's being whispered is that the leaked voice notes have forced the viewers to re-examine every interaction between Rasheeda and Jasmine over the last 5 years. Suddenly, the scenes of Rasheeda standing tall and dismissing Jasmine take on a different tone. Was she acting out of strength, or was she acting out of a desperate need to protect a brand that she privately knew was a lie? The chatter suggests that the upcoming season pulls back the curtain on this internal conflict. Reactions from the cast are said to be intensely divided, as members begin to wonder if Jasmine was right all along about the Frost facade. Emotions ran high online as fans debated whether Jasmine's actions were malicious, or if she was simply shattering the illusion for a woman who deserved to see the truth. This atmospheric shift is being described as a quiet, digital revolution, where the villain of the story has suddenly become the one holding the most powerful truth in the room. The kind of change you only notice once the other woman has the upper hand is the way the united front begins to look like a desperate retreat. According to reports, the upcoming season shows Kirk Frost in a state of total disorientation. He reportedly spent years managing the Jasmine problem through legal filings and silence, but he wasn't prepared for a digital leak that attacked his wife's loyalty instead of his own infidelity. The chatter suggests that Kirk is now in the impossible position of defending a marriage that his wife is allegedly on record saying she doesn't believe in. People close to the situation say the energy between Kirk and Rasheeda is no longer about the scandal of a child, but about the scandal of the lie. Producers didn't need to provoke a confrontation. The presence of the voice notes in the digital space acted as a third person in every room, making every conversation feel like a deposition. The story, according to the whispers, stays complicated because Jasmine Washington's motives are still being questioned by the Rasheeda loyalists. Some believe she leaked the notes to finally destroy the woman she could never become, while others think she did it to force a reckoning that was 20 years overdue. The upcoming season reportedly doesn't offer a clear answer, but instead lets the audience watch the fallout in real time. There are said to be scenes where Rasheeda is seen staring at her phone, watching the comments roll in, realizing that the loyalty her fans loved her for is now being mocked as greed. The psychological toll of this transition, from being a hero of endurance to being seen as a corporate player, is being described as the most devastating arc in the history of the show. Fans are shocked because for the first time they are seeing the boss chick look not just angry but defeated. As the talk about the leaked voice notes grows louder, the atmosphere among the friends of the cast is said to have turned cold. No one knows who to trust because if Rasheeda's private voice notes can be leaked, no one's secrets are safe. Sources claim that the Jasmine factor has created a culture of paranoia in the Atlanta reality scene. People are checking their phones, being careful with their words, and realizing that in the digital age, silence is the only true currency. The upcoming season is rumored to explore this culture of the leak, showing how Jasmine's one move has sent ripples through friendships and alliances that have stood for a decade. The shift didn't come from a physical ambush. It came from a digital footprint that could never be erased. The sense that something permanent has shifted is unavoidable because the connection viewers once recognized no longer looks the same. It is a revelation of how easily a public image can be dismantled by a single send button. The upcoming season is said to reveal how Jasmine Washington went from being a distraction to being the person who finally held the Frost Empire accountable. Nothing is tied up with a bow. The questions about the source of the leak and the future of the children remain unanswered, and that lingering uncertainty is exactly what's keeping the fans talking. Jasmine didn't just leak a voice note. She leaked the reality of a marriage that had already been hollowed out from the inside. The digital reckoning has arrived, and the price of the Boss Chick brand just went up. The shift in the social landscape of Atlanta wasn't marked by a loud confrontation at a club or a public statement on a red carpet. It was felt in the sudden, icy silence that descended upon the inner circle of the love and hip-hop cast. When the alleged voice notes of Rasheeda admitted she was staying for the money hit the digital space, it didn't just impact the Frost household, It sent a shockwave through the entire production. According to circulating reports, the upcoming season explores a divided cast that is no longer sure where loyalty ends and business begins. Fans are shocked because the names involved are people who have shared history with Rasheeda and Kirk for over a decade. Friends who once stood as a unified wall of support around the boss chick are now reportedly retreating into their own corners, questioning if the marriage they defended was ever real. The chatter suggests that the voice of betrayal has created a culture of paranoia, where every cast member is looking at their own phone, their own private messages, and their own loyal partners with a new sense of suspicion. The kind of change you notice when a core couple's secret is exposed is how quickly the rest of the group begins to self-protect. People close to the situation say that the energy during group filming sessions has turned clinical. The laughter is gone, replaced by a tense, rehearsed politeness. Sources close to the production claim that the upcoming season features scenes where longtime friends like Carly Red, Jock, and Sierra are forced to pick a side in a war that has no clear hero. Some cast members are reportedly Team Rasheeda, arguing that in a world as cutthroat as Atlanta, protecting your financial interests is the ultimate boss move. Others, however, are said to be quietly disgusted by the level of deception, feeling that the brand they helped promote was a lie that made them all look like fools. Those familiar with the situation say that the caste divide isn't about Kirk's cheating anymore, it's about Rasheeda's alleged pragmatism. The realization that the Queen of the South might have been a cold-blooded business strategist all along has shifted the power dynamic of the entire show. What's being whispered is that the leaked voice notes have created a blacklist within the group. If Jasmine Washington could get her hands on Rasheeda's private audio, then who is safe? The chatter suggests that the upcoming season pulls back the curtain on this digital anxiety. There are said to be scenes where cast members are seen leaving their phones in their cars or refusing to speak unless they are in a secure environment. This atmospheric shift is being described as a reality TV Cold War, where the currency is no longer drama but information. Fans are connecting dots between the sudden distance of certain cast members and the timing of the leak. Emotions ran high online as viewers debated the ethics of the cast's reactions. Is it fair to judge Rasheeda for her survival tactics, or is the money over marriage revelation too much for even her closest allies to swallow? The internal conflict reportedly adds a layer of gravity to every scene, making the social gatherings feel like minefields. The kind of change you only notice in the aftermath of a leak is how the conversations circle the same points without ever landing on a resolution. According to reports, the upcoming season shows moments where the cast quietly observes Rasheeda from a distance, watching her maintain her boss chick exterior while they know what's playing on the internet. It is the sound of a community losing its anchor. People close to the situation say that the united front that used to define the Atlanta Circle has been replaced by a fragmented series of hushed conversations in parking lots and dressing rooms. Producers didn't need to provoke a shouting match for the cameras. The tension was already there, vibrating in the silence between people who used to call each other family. This is where the frustration begins for the audience. The sense that the family we've watched for years was actually a collection of individuals protecting their own interests under the guise of loyalty. The story, according to the whispers, stays complicated because the divide isn't just between the men and the women, it's generational. Younger cast members are reportedly looking at the Frosts as a cautionary tale of old-school deception, while the veterans are struggling to reconcile their personal love for Rasheeda with the professional damage the leak has caused. The chatter suggests that the upcoming season explores the pressure of maintaining a power couple image in an era where the truth is only one screenshot away. Fans are shocked because they are seeing the cracks in friendships they thought were unbreakable. Sierra, specifically, is rumored to be caught in the middle, trying to balance her loyalty to Rasheeda with her own sense of truth. The narrative suggests that the season doesn't offer a neat resolution, but instead lets the audience sit with the discomfort of a social circle that is slowly moving away from its center. As the talk about the leaked voice notes grows louder, the atmosphere at the cast's private parties and events is said to have turned performative. Everyone is playing a role, but no one believes the script anymore. According to reports, the upcoming season captures this sense of being on, even when the cameras are supposed to be off. Mendes, Kirk, is rumored to be navigating this divide with a sense of weary resignation. He reportedly knows that he is no longer the primary target of the group's judgment. The focus has shifted to the woman who stayed, and the reason she stayed. The shift didn't come from a loud moment of betrayal. It came from the quiet realization that when the gold standard falls, it takes everyone's reputation down with it. The digital reckoning has turned the cast into a group of survivors, each wondering who will be the next to have their private truth leaked to the world. The sense that something permanent has shifted is unavoidable because the connection viewers once recognized no longer looks the same. It is a revelation of how easily a community can be dismantled by the sound of a single voice. The upcoming season is said to reveal how the Frost Empire didn't just govern a marriage, it governed a social order that is now in total disarray. Nothing is tied up with a bow. The questions about the future of these friendships and the source of the leak remain unanswered, and that lingering uncertainty is exactly what's keeping the fans talking. The cast isn't just divided, they are disillusioned. And in Atlanta, once the illusion is gone, there is no putting the show back together.